So, Disclaimer is a brand new psychological thriller series that's on Apple TV Plus, written and directed by Alfonso Cuarón. And as far as I'm aware, I believe it's just the first 2 episodes that are on Apple TV Plus right now, as the remaining episodes are coming in the coming weeks. In the series, we follow a respected documentarian journalist portrayed by Cate Blanchett, who one day comes across this book called The Perfect Stranger. And while she reads this book, not only does she discover that she is the key character in this book, but this book unearths a dark secret that she tried to keep buried. And also, just so what you all know right now, this review is not going to be a review of the first 2 episodes. It's actually going to be a review of the entire series, but do not worry, guys. No spoilers here, because I want to keep everything vague, because what this series presents is one hell of a haunting ride, and that's all I'm going to say about that. Before I continue on with today's video, I just wanted to say welcome to my channel, everybody. For those of you who are coming by my channel for the very first time, be sure to hit the subscribe button to miss a future video, or it's a future review, a reaction, a top 5, or whatever I've coming your way, and join me on my journey to 10K subscribers and beyond, because believe me when I say this, guys, you are not going to miss the cool shit I have coming your way. And for those of you coming back to my channel, welcome back, everybody. You have no idea how happy I'm to see your faces once again. Alrighty, guys, so let's get into Disclaimer.
You're goddamn right.
Man, I gotta tell you all, this was a show that I was really excited for. Now it's because of, well, I would say one reason, but there's really 2 reasons in particular. One of which being is that this show was written and directed by Alfonso Cuarón, who, if you ask me, is one of the best filmmakers working today, as really no one makes things that Alfonso Cuarón can do. And not to mention as well is that not only was this show shot by Emmanuel Lubitsky, who's my favorite cinematographer, aka Chivo, but it was also shot by Bruno de Bonell. And just hearing that was those 2 working in tandem with Alfonso Cuarón, and knowing the cast as well, and knowing this was going to be a psychological thriller series, of course I was on board. Before I continue on and say anything else, I just wanted to give a big thank you to Apple TV Plus, who gave me access to see all the episodes early, because man, I gotta tell you all, there is a lot to talk about. I mean, a lot to talk about, and of course, no spoiler and as vague as I possibly can. But guys, again, I was so excited for the show, and let me tell you guys right now, from start to finish, this show just had its hooks in me. It was riveting, and by the end, I felt like I was able to take just the biggest breath, the biggest sigh of relief, because man, Disclaimer is freaking excellent. All of the performances here are fantastic. There isn't a single sore thumb within this cast. Everybody is great here. Whether it comes down to Louis Patridge, not to mention as well Sacha Baron Cohen, Cody Smit-Fee, or at least in my opinion, the 2 standouts here, and really this is where the show really goes on the shoulders of when it comes to these actors, Cate Blanchett, and not to mention as well Kevin Kline. There is something that happens between the 2 of them, and honest to God here, guys, my eyes were glued to the screen. Kevin Kline is a brilliant actor along with Cate Blanchett, so really it should come as no surprise that these 2 give really just eye-gluing performances that literally your eyes are just fused to your TV screen, because they're just that good in the show. One of the reasons why I was so excited for the show was because it was written and directed by Alfonso Cuarón, who, like I mentioned to you guys earlier, absolutely loves a filmmaker. I mean, he brought one of my favorite films of all time, Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban, not to mention as well Roma, Children of Men, Gravity. So really, Alfonso Cuarón, A Little Princess is also brilliant as well. I almost forgot to mention that film, but still nonetheless, no one does storytelling in the way that Alfonso Cuarón does. Whether it comes down to staging his actors, blocking out every single sequence, and not to mention the way how he frames and moves the camera, which, by the way, I just gotta mention this really quick, how beautifully shot this show is. I mean, oh my god. Emmanuel Lubitsky, Chivo, and Bruno de Bonell do such beautiful work in the series. Emmanuel Lubitsky shoots the hell out of the series, and his handheld camera work in the show is just brilliant. There is a particular scene in the show, I won't say which episode or which part of the show for that matter, but the way that Emmanuel Lubitsky shoots this one scene, I thought was just genius work. But really, more than anything else, if there's something in particular that I loved how they shot the dialogue scenes in general, one of the earliest dialogue sequences of the show, I loved how they kept both characters in these beautiful, long, wide shots, and each time a character moved, no matter what happened, they never cut between two cameras. That was always just a static shot that did move at times, only when it needed to. A lot of the times that these sequences happened, I felt like I was watching a play unfolding in front of my eyes, and a dark and haunting play at that, yes, but a very riveting play as well. There is a great sequence between Sacha Baron Cohen and Cate Blanchett, and how the sequence plays out, and how whoever operated the camera, by the way, phenomenal job, I gotta say. How the sequence played out, I thought was just a work of brilliance. I know that I just talked about the cinematography for God knows how long because this show really is beautifully shot, but I want to go back onto Alfonso Cuarón's directing here for one moment, and that's because of this. I absolutely loved how Alfonso Cuarón let the story unfold in the show. Now, I'm just going to let you guys know right now, I have not read the book. Do I want to read the book after watching the show? Absolutely, because knowing how riveting the show was, I can only imagine how riveting the book is going to be. This show starts off as essentially like a fuzzy and a very hazy memory that you really just cannot put together because there's a lot of things happening at once. But once you get to a certain moment, everything just lines up together. It becomes clear as day. And once everything lines up, I just remember thinking, oh shit. There was a part in the show, guys, where no kidding, I didn't expect for it to go in this direction, and where it kept going until the very end, I was on the edge of my seat, and I was just almost like figuratively biting my nails in suspense. The tension of Disclaimer is done so well, and it winds at such a slow pace and certain bits that you don't even realize it's being done, because when you get to a certain point, you're literally just all winded up, just going like, Jesus, what the fuck is gonna happen here? But how the show ends, no joke, I did not expect to get teary-eyed in the end. Another thing that I gotta mention here about Disclaimer is the show's score. The show's score is done by Phineas O'Connell. Phineas, you may all know him otherwise as Billie Eilish's brother. No joke, guys. That is who composed the music of the show, and he did a wonderful job for this show. There are bits in his score where I was just thinking like, I need to get this freaking score on vinyl. This is fantastic. I want to see what he does in a film, because his score is not only so riveting and so suspenseful, but it is really one of the most beautifully done scores of the year. Like, it is just that good.
Oh, no, no.
When it comes down to my issues for a Disclaimer, there's only one issue I have for the show that holds it back from being, at least in my eyes, one of the greatest shows ever made, and that's just, well, miniseries ever made, but you guys get my point. If you guys have seen the first two episodes, you will all know that Disclaimer does have narration, and uses narration quite often throughout the miniseries. There are specific times in the show where it uses narration where I personally felt like if it hadn't used narration at these specific times throughout the show, then the scene would have been just that much more powerful. Most of the time, the narration was used very, very well. There are specific times where it just wasn't needed, if you ask me.
What's it gonna be, Doc?
So overall, not only is Disclaimer wonderfully directed, it's beautifully shot, it's haunting, but it's also riveting from start till finish. All in all, I'm gonna give Disclaimer a 4.75 out of 5. Please check the show out, as like I mentioned you guys earlier, only the first 2 episodes are on right now, but believe me guys when I say this, once you start, you're going to be itching with anticipation for the rest of the episodes, as trust me when I say this guys, what you guys got right now, it's only about to get started, and what it has coming for you all, you're not ready. I hope you enjoyed my review of Disclaimer. If so, please hit the like button, or if you dislike the review, hit the dislike button. If you guys want to see my previous 2 reviews, please click the right there or right there. And of course, until my next review or video goes live, I will see you all next time.